Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to master 1.16 PvP. This video will include many tricks and techniques as well as strategies to master 1.16 combat. So make sure to stick around till the end of the video. Before we start the guide, if you are new or not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. Subscribing helps the channel a lot, it's completely free, and you can unsubscribe whenever you want. Thanks, and enjoy the video. In versions 1.9 or 1.16, PvP is not about getting combos on your opponent, but getting crit hits. Statistically, if you can get more crit hits than your opponent while having equal gear, you will win that fight. But how can you get the crit hits depending on your weapons and your opponent? Many people don't actually know how to properly crit hit, so pay very close attention. To properly crit hit, you want to be sprint jumping towards your opponent, and then when you get close enough, jump in front of them as you charge up your hit. As soon as you begin to fall, release your walk and sprint keys as you hit them. Stopping your sprint will deal a lot of extra damage to your opponent, so remember this tip. Also, keep in mind that when you're using an axe, you should be crit hitting, recharging your swing, and then backing off or shielding, then going in for another crit. When you're crit hitting with the sword, it's a little different. You should be jumping around them, right, left, behind, and trying to get as many crits as you can. But we'll get more into that in our next tip. In 1.16 PvP, movement is everything. You can't just expect to get a ton of crit hits without having great movement. Movement should depend a bit on your opponent and the weapons being used, but for the most part, it should be quite similar. For starters, you should always be moving around a bit. After you get a good crit hit or a bow shot, you should frantically reposition yourself. Every time you crit hit, you should jump to the side, so it's hard for your opponent to fight back. They'll be taking a large amount of damage, and with you jumping so quickly around them, it'll be impossible for them to recover. If you find yourself in a position where you are low on HP, you'll have to change your movement. Start playing a bit more passive and trying to get those crit hits with your axe without being touched. You can do this by retreating, and then quickly turning around to deal a crit hit or a bow shot, or both, then going back on retreat. This will catch your opponent off guard and deal a ton of damage. Doing this multiple times will slowly recover your HP, and they will start to lose theirs. Remember, movement and crit hits are the base of 1.16 and 1.9 PvP. By mastering these skills, you will already be a bit better than the average player, but if you want to be a good 1.16 PvPer, you'll have to know a bit more. The general who wins the battle makes many calculations in his temple before the battle is fought. The general who loses makes but few calculations beforehand. Sun Tzu. This tip is the most important, so make sure to pay attention. Combat strategy is a major part of 1.16 or 1.9 PvP. Without it, you'll be fighting off instinct rather than technique or strategy, which will not hold up against a skilled player. You'll have to adapt your strategy depending on the opponent or situation. For example, if you and your opponent have unenchanted diamond or iron gear, you'll need a much different strategy than if you and your opponent had fully enchanted netherite gear and powerful items like golden apples, potions, and ender pearls. It's hard to perfectly teach advanced gear PvP because there's so much that can happen and so much to learn about, but I will include my personal strategy and explain why I do these things to guarantee a win every single time. When fighting with basic gear, your best friend is going to be a shield. This item will be far more valuable than anything you can ever imagine. The shield is used to block hits, and when used in lower gear fights, it can be used to stop just about any projectiles. To properly use your shield, you have to hold block, then crit hit, reposition, and then block again. This strategy is used when the fight has just started. Also note that getting in a few bow shots on the unsuspecting opponent is also good, but not necessary. Remember, going for good axe crits is important, and swords are not very useful. If your opponent is aggressively rushing you and spamming you with sword or axe swings, just hold up your shield and crit hit them with your axe. This will make them play more passive and change their tactics, but if they don't, just keep shielding and axe critting for an easy win. If the opponent is keeping their shield up and waiting for you to make a move, either crit their shield away and then quickly knock them back with a non-charged axe swing. This will disable their shield and make it easy for you to crit them out. Another strategy is to get very close to them while shielded up. Then jump behind them and get a free axe crit on their back, dealing a ton of damage. These strategies, along with good movement and proper crit hits, will make you a great PvPer. But hold on just a bit, there's more. Advanced gear PvP is more, well, advanced than basic gear PvP. It's not as straightforward. You will have to think on the fly and adapt to the situation, depending on your health advantage or disadvantage, your opponent's level of aggression, and conserving your gapples, potions, and pearls. Advanced gear PvP is a total game changer. A few important things to know about advanced PvP are axes and shields are not as good. It is much better to use a powerful sword with sharpness and fire aspect, along with a strength potion, because you deal a lot more damage per second, and you don't have to worry about your health as much, because of your strong armor. It's hard to perfectly teach advanced gear PvP because there's so much that can happen, and so much to learn about, but I will include my personal strategy and explain why I do these things to guarantee a win every single time. I am an aggressive player, so I start off by arranging my inventory and splashing potions of regeneration, strength, turtle master, and swiftness. These potions give buffs like faster movement, dealing more damage, slowly healing hearts, and good resistance to damage. Then, I will fire a weakness arrow at the opponent before ender pearling towards them. This weakens them before my attack. Then all I do is jump around them and their shield, landing as many sword crits as I can. If their shield is becoming a problem, I'll just disable it with my axe and then get back to crit hitting with the sword. If they try to run away, I'll just pearl to catch up to them and continue attacking them until I kill them. If I ever get low on HP, I'll ender pearl away and gapple up before pearling back to them and re-engaging the fight. But I'll always try to hit them with the weakness arrow before engaging in the fight to give me an advantage. This strategy works amazing for me, and using the tips provided in this video, I have mastered 1.16 and 1.9 PvP. If you learned something new from this video, leave a like or a comment saying what you learned. Also, please consider subscribing to the channel. It would really help out and I'd appreciate it very much. Anyways, thanks for watching and good luck with your Minecraft PvP journey.